Hello, everyone. Phil Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. It is September 3rd, 2022. Click on the subscription button here in the lower right to subscribe to future episodes, and also on the notification bell in the far upper right to be notified when those episodes are released. Today's topic is modern politics and the 19th century. It is actually a post written by Ric Sapp at his website, trudge2truth.com. So let me just read. I'll have some comments at the end. The American South was not uniquely evil or racist in the 19th century. For some, this statement will seem self-evident, and for others, they'll hold it to be manifestly false. While there is strong alignment with politics, there are plenty of conservatives who act as though the statement is false. There are political conservatives today who act as though that statement is false, meaning that the American South was not uniquely racist. A challenge for many who believe it is true is that to say so leaves them open to ridicule or worse. It also requires a certain grasp of facts not to appear as defensive and open to charges of racism, or at least not being willing to face your history. The following is a partial list of the reasons the statement is true. And again, that statement is the American South was not uniquely racist in the 19th century. And here are the following partial list of reasons. Slavery existed in the United States at its founding, and each of the 13 colonies allowed slavery. Slavery existed in so-called free states until 1850, and many of them. And except for New Jersey, which was a free state where slavery lived past the Civil War and was not abolished until the 13th Amendment, when Georgia voted to ratify that amendment. At the time of the Civil War, some Union states had laws forbidding free blacks from establishing residency. There were more free blacks in the South than there were in the North. The Northerners didn't want them. The third reason, there was effectively no difference in racist or white supremacist attitudes between people in the North and the South. Both Lincoln and Jefferson Davis were white supremacists. And the fourth reason, the Union maintained slavery until the Civil War, until after the Civil War in Maryland, Delaware, Kentucky, West Virginia, and New Jersey, 5 states. Slavery ended in the North with the ratification of the 13th Amendment in December 1865, and it was Georgia's vote that did that. It was an all-white legislature in Georgia that voted to approve that amendment, and many of the people in that legislature were former Confederates. Fifth reason, abolitionists were for ending slavery, but demonstrated little concern for the well-being of freed slaves. This resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths of freed slaves, freedmen, from disease and starvation. Sixth, Northern industries and banks profited from slavery until the start of the Civil War. There was a serious effort in New York City to secede from the Union by itself, partially to protect those slave-based profits. Now, all this matters because many who know the facts are acting as if they don't, and you can list almost every academic in that. They know these facts, but they act like they don't. And they do that to persuade the gullible and ignorant that a portion of our nation and its heritage should be minimized and shunned. I would say ostracized and quarantined. Gone with those statues and names are important notions about free government, like sovereignty, federalism, and the protection of minority rights. These are things worth preserving. Now, again, if you want to look at the proof of racism in the North and racism in the South, consider this. 22 states joined the Union after Texas in 1845. Of those 22 states, down to the present day, of those 22 states, all but 2 of them joined the Union when they had about 1% of their respective populations as Black. Only 1%. The 2 exceptions, West Virginia and Oklahoma, clearly border states with the South and between the South and the North. Now, what that shows undeniably is that Northerners wanted to quarantine Blacks in the South. And that's not just me talking. There's a book written by a Yankee historian, I can't recall his name right now, but he hates the South. And that book is The Scorpion's Sting. And he admits, in fact, he makes a big point of making the case that the North was seeking to quarantine Blacks in the South. Of course, he doesn't put it that way. He said, they just wanted to quarantine slavery. Yeah, right. I've run into I've cited in earlier videos the quotes that show that Lincoln and Trumbull and a lot of Republicans, they said they wanted to limit the expansion of slavery into the Western territories because they wanted to reserve those territories for free white labor. Free white labor. That was an expression, a quote, a direct quote from Abraham Lincoln 7 years before the Civil War started. Okay, let me just share this with you on my screen. If you want to know what the Civil War was all about, get Causes of the Civil War by Philip Lee. This is in this book. We'll make the case. We'll show you how 20 of the 22 states that joined the Union after Texas, that they had 1% of their population as being Black. The purpose of stopping the spread of slavery into the Western territories was to stop the spread of Blacks into the Western territories. That's what the Republican Party wanted. They wanted to quarantine Blacks in the South. They did it. Blacks did not really begin to leave the South until World War I. When the World War I started, there was a huge demand in Europe for weapons and machinery, and that was when the northern states began to need more labor. They had a shortage of labor. So get Causes of the Civil War. We have an audio version. You can get it at Amazon. We have a book version. It's $22 at Amazon and Barnes and Noble and other fine bookstores. If you want an autographed copy, email me, Phil, PHIL _Lee, LEIGH at me.com. Okay, so let me stop sharing. Okay, that is our show for today, and thank you for watching.